Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about juniors, mid-levels, seniors and how to spot them. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, how do you spot the different types of programmers? What are sure ways of telling that someone's a junior or a mid-level or a senior developer? And the short answer is usually by their viewpoints and the topics that interests them. Let me explain. So in general, when you start off as a junior developer, as you can imagine, you're going to be a little bit intimidated by quite a lot of different things. I mean, you don't have years and years of experience, which means that everything is new to you. And as with any human who is facing something new, you will not really know how to deal with it. You will, well, all of us will treat it in a different fashion. Like some people will be excited and some people will be scared, etc., right? But you are inexperienced, and that is by far the easiest way to tell if someone is a junior. And this is why I've said to so many people before, guys, if you think that there's someone out there who's just that good at faking being a programmer, then can get in and get a good paying job without knowing how to actually do, not just walk the walk, but also talk the talk. It's not going to happen unless they are in a situation where they literally are working alone or they don't have any senior experiences or anything like that. It's very hard to fake experience. So that's what I'm going to say for the juniors. Usually the way you spot them, inexperience, being very uncertain. They are very scared of things. They're timid, often very timid around more experienced coworkers, where they might not talk, or they might talk, but they're very unsure. If you say anything, if like they have an opinion and you say, but how do you think about that? If you question them or ask them to elaborate, they will freeze up, or they might just show very clearly that they're not very comfortable. Mid-level developers are also usually fairly easy to spot. There's usually a range to mid-level developers, but the most common thing that I see is that they have a higher level of confidence. So you can ask them to elaborate and they will explain and they will trade ideas and they will feel fairly natural in their role. They will also be the people who are most likely to push for new tools or new concepts or be very enthusiastic about different paradigms of working or strategies that you can improve your work. They're in what I like to call, or what it's not my term, but I like the term. It's called the Philosopher Stage. Now they have progressed from just being very scared of what they're doing and just trying to get stuff to work and pretty much doing whatever anybody else tells them to do, as long as, of course, that they're a more experienced developer. And now they're in this stage where they're trying to question or figure out how to do things better. They're trying to question all the old ways of doing stuff and they're trying to just make things better. This is usually where you find the vast majority of people that you probably talk to on the internet, where they will tell you that, oh, you know what, everything that is done in Java is absolutely bullshit and the only thing that should matter 2 years ago, and they will tell you things like monoliths are so outdated, it's all about microservices, it's the future, it's the everything. Or say, then you have the serverless people who say that serverless is the future, that's going to be the thing, and Python is the future, that's going to be the thing. These are the people who are mid-level. They are all mid-levels. And they're mid-level for that exact reason, because they have, as I stated, they've gone from the point where they're scared of what they're doing to the point where they feel confident in sort of what they're doing at least. And now they have such a good understanding of programming that they start to see a repeating pattern and therefore they try to improve upon that pattern, which is a good thing and sometimes a very annoying thing or a bad thing. Now the seniors, how you spot them, this is sometimes very tricky because it depends on how senior you are, but I would like to state, and I know that this is a little bit opinionated, I would like to say that the more years you spend, or the more senior you are, the more true this becomes. It's a range of things. I mean, everything's a range, of course. Or there's a spectrum. Let's call it a spectrum. So for the seniors, it's usually that they have progressed to a point where they just want things to work. They are excited about things. There are tools that they find interesting and so forth. But most of the time, they care primarily about making things kind of simple, using established ways of working, things that they feel comfortable with. They know that this is going to work. They know that there's not going to come a headache or something like that. They want to focus on, and they're very oriented around stability and making, as I was saying, making sure that the stuff that you invest in are good investments. Now, they have bad ideas just as everybody else. It's just that they're much more inclined to not go to every single seminar or not to talk about every single blog they have read, but rather have specific areas where they're very interested. I mean, this is of course true for the mid-level developers as well, but just in general, seniors tend to be a little bit more mature. They tend to be much more stable. They have a much wider knowledge, like in-depth knowledge. They understand usually the connection between good software and making the right decisions. That is usually what I find with the senior developers. So what I want you to take away from this is pretty much that if you want to spot a junior, easiest way is that they are probably the easiest people to spot, because they basically just know the basics of software engineering, and they're very scared usually. They're very unsure of themselves. They're often looking for confirmation or acknowledgement from more experienced developers. They're trying to pretty much get the pat on the head. They want to be told that they're doing well, right? And then you have the mid-level developers who are progressed beyond that, and they are now in the philosopher stage, where they're trying to question things. They're trying to push for new innovations. They add new libraries, new patterns, and things like that. They're trying to, it's kind of like a shotgun effect. They are saying all the words, but they don't really understand how all these different concepts fit into the bigger whole. So they're just kind of in an undiscriminative fashion, trying to just do it all. It's like putting all the spices into your food at the same time. That's what they're doing. Now, a senior is much more mature in that fashion. They're like a mid-level developer that just has fucked up enough to understand that you're not supposed to put all the spices in. Pick your spices. Some of it should go in because it's going to make the dish much better, or it's going to make everything better. And that's usually the tell of a senior developer. They're usually a little bit older, much more calm about making decisions. They are the people who are usually pushing for the simplest thing. They're very often pragmatic, like they don't care if there is a awesome new fantastic standard doing something awesome. They don't care, because if there's something that they already have that's going to do the job, they don't care. They're usually by younger people thought of as being a little bit sometimes behind the times, or I'm not saying demotivating or negative, but you can probably get my drift. They're the old bitter guy or girl who just doesn't feel like there needs to be a change too much. And the further along in your seniority you come, usually the truer this becomes. Have a great day.